where President Cyril Ramaphosa arrived back in the country on Friday. He convened a crisis meeting over the Ma-hee-keng protests. Ramaphosa had earlier called on the residents of the Northwest province to allow him to lend a hand and send him to address their grievances. He had also called on the police to exercise restraint. On Thursday, protests turned violent, with police engaging in running battles with a section of residents of Ma-hee-keng. The locals are demanding better infrastructure, housing, health services and jobs. They're also calling for the resignation of Premier Supra Mahumapelo, who is an ANC member. Ramaphosa cut short a trip to Britain following the escalation of violence in the region. This is the first major crisis President Ramaphosa faces. He took power in February this year. Well, let's get you more on that now. Angelo Coppola is staying with that story. He's joining me live from Johannesburg. Angelo, we do understand that President Ramaphosa is back in the country. He has held a crisis meeting over the Ma-hee-keng demonstrations. So what is the latest on the ground?
Well, Cyril Ramaphosa arrived in Ma-hee-keng late on Friday afternoon to meet those provincial ANC leaders to try and resolve the situation. The meeting was meant to start at around midday. It began several hours late, and it's still underway as far as we understand. It's a critical meeting, and it could see the violence spread if the Premier isn't forced to stand down. Soon after the meeting began this afternoon, protesters in the area made their way to the venue, chanting and singing and demanding that the Premier step down. It now seems that there's a standoff looming, and we're hearing reports that ANC provincial leaders may support the Premier. And here's the problem. He was elected by provincial structures, and he can only be voted out by those structures. So the ANC leadership really has no say in whether he stays or whether he goes. So the riots may well continue unless the Premier volunteers to step down, which appears increasingly unlikely at the moment. Beatrice?
Well, that is appearing increasingly unlikely, as you mentioned, but it does seem like things have been simmering in the Northwest province for a while now. Can you just take us through events that led to these violent demonstrations that have rattled the nation?
Well, it's been a build-up over several months now. In fact, it probably started around December when the Premier was seen as the kingmaker that got Ramaphosa elected. He was then sidestepped in terms of a promotion, and it seems that that's where the unrest or the issues started fermenting. Those riots did start in Ma-hee-keng on Wednesday. It started as a service delivery protest, and it quickly included the long-standing Northwest Province Premier. In fact, he's been in power now for some 10 years, and he's been accused of corruption and maladministration. Their allegations have been swirling around the Premier for some time now, and they include his alleged links to the politically connected and now discredited Gupta family. The unrest has since now spread to 2 other towns in the province, and the provincial capital remains a no-go zone while the police try and control the situation. At last count, some 23 people had been arrested for a range of public violence crimes. The SANDF did announce late this afternoon that they're going to be stepping in and deploying into the province to reinforce the medical care capacity there, specifically at the provincial hospital. This after a healthcare workers' strike that's brought the healthcare sector in the province to a complete standstill. Police, of course, tonight will be on high alert, and they're expecting more violence, more arson and more vandalism. Beatrice?
All right, Angelo Coppola following the developments in the Northwest for us there. He's joining me from Johannesburg.